There comes a moment in life when someone hurts you so deeply that your heart wants revenge, your mind wants answers, and your ego wants the final word. But the question is, who will respond? Your pain or your wisdom? Ladies and gentlemen, today I want you to pause everything that is storming inside your mind, take a breath, and listen. Because the truth is, you will meet people who will misunderstand you, use you, cheat you, insult you, judge you, and reject you. You will meet people who will throw stones at you, not because you deserve it, but because their inner world is full of chaos, fear, and insecurity. And in those moments, you will have two choices, either to react like them or respond with wisdom. Let me tell you something powerful. The moment someone hurts you, they reveal their character, not yours. You don't have to fight, you don't have to prove, you don't have to explain. The world will expect noise, but you will answer with silence, composure, and clarity, because the one who hurts you is temporary, but the wisdom you choose to respond with becomes permanent. If someone insults you, that is their story. How you respond becomes your story. If someone disrespects you, it's a reflection of their immaturity. Your calmness is a reflection of your emotional maturity. When you respond with wisdom, you rise above the battlefield. You refuse to shrink to the level where their negativity lives. Instead, you hold your peace, protect your inner joy, and walk away with dignity. Listen carefully. People cannot destroy you unless you let their words live inside you. Real power is not about controlling others. It is about controlling your own reaction. When your heart is calm, your mind becomes sharp. When your ego is quiet, your wisdom speaks. And when wisdom speaks, everyone listens, even the one who hurt you. So today, I invite you to rise. Rise above revenge, rise above arguments, rise above the noise. Because when they hurt you, you don't answer with anger, you answer with wisdom. Silence is often misunderstood. People imagine silence as defeat, as weakness, as an inability to speak. But silence, when chosen consciously, is the language of emotional strength. When someone hurts you, insults you, misunderstands you, provokes you, silence becomes your shield of wisdom. Silence doesn't mean you don't have words. Silence means you know your words have value and you refuse to waste them where they will not be understood. Silence doesn't mean you are powerless. Silence is what powerful people use when they do not want to lose themselves to meaningless noise. Silence is not running away. Silence is stepping above the chaos. It is rising above the level where the argument exists. When you stay silent, you are refusing to let somebody else control your inner weather. There are people who speak out of anger, insecurity, pain, ego, jealousy, ignorance. If you respond with words, you join their frequency, you become part of their emotional storm. But you remain silent, you are saying, I will not give you access to my peace. Silence is not agreement. Silence is not surrender. Silence is simply choosing peace over drama. Silence is communicating that you value your emotional health more than winning a pointless battle. Reaction is easy. Anybody can react. Anybody can shout, insult back, attack back. But silence is difficult. Silence requires maturity. Silence requires self-awareness. Silence requires letting go of the ego's desire to fight. When someone hurts you and you respond with silence, you are not weak, you are wise. Because you understand that when you argue with a person who wants to hurt you, there is no end to the argument. Hurt people want to hurt. Angry people want to provoke. Egoistic people want to win. But a wise person wants peace, and silence is the pathway to that peace. There is a deep strength inside silence. Silence helps you listen to your own heart instead of listening to the noise of another person's anger. Silence gives you space. Silence gives you time to think clearly. Silence stops the cycle of negativity. Silence protects your dignity. When someone insults you and you stay quiet, you are showing them that their words cannot pull you down. You are proving that your self-worth is not dependent on their opinions. You are proving that you will not let their chaos enter your inner world. Silence is emotional intelligence in action. It means you are aware of what is happening. You understand what they are trying to do, but you choose not to get dragged into that environment. You remain grounded. You stay composed. You protect your peace. That is strength. That is power. Silence also reveals the truth over time. When you react, the situation becomes messy. But when you stay silent, reality exposes itself. Truth becomes visible. People eventually see who acted out of impulse and who acted out of calmness. Silence gives clarity to everyone watching. Silence brings respect. Silence earns trust. The world begins to notice your strength because people realize that you do not waste your energy on negativity. You do not fight every battle. You fight only the battles that matter within you. Silence also deepens your understanding. When you choose silence, you start hearing your own wisdom. You discover that not everything deserves a response. You become selective. You communicate only when necessary. Silence gives birth to discernment, which is the ability to know when to speak, when to listen, and when to just walk away peacefully. This is emotional mastery. This is maturity. This is real strength. When someone hurts you and you remain silent, they may mistake it as weakness for a moment, but eventually they will realize that your silence had a meaning behind it. Silence is not losing. Silence is protecting what truly matters: your inner peace, your dignity, your self-control. Silence is understanding that reaction is temporary satisfaction, but peace is long-term power. Silence teaches you that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to show people you are right. You don't need to explain yourself to those who don't want to understand. You don't need to defend yourself every time someone misunderstands you. Silence tells you that self-respect is more important than public approval. Silence becomes your strength because it shows that you have mastered yourself. You have mastered your emotions. You have mastered your mind. You have mastered your ego. The strongest warriors are not those who fight every battle. The strongest warriors are those who choose their battles wisely, and sometimes the wisest battle is the one you don't fight with words. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of awareness. Silence is full of choice. Silence is full of wisdom. Silence is full of power. The world may not always understand your silence, but silence is not for the world. It is for your inner world. It is for your peace. It is for your growth. And the one who protects their inner world is the one who ultimately lives a life of profound strength. When someone hurts you, they are not giving you a reflection of who you are. They are giving you a reflection of who they are. Their words, their tone, their actions, their attitude, everything they throw at you is rooted in their personal story. People who carry pain speak with pain. People who carry insecurity behave with insecurity. People who carry ego act with ego. People who carry bitterness spread bitterness. So when someone hurts you, the real lesson is not in what they said, but in what kind of person they are choosing to be. Their behavior is simply a mirror of their internal world. And what you must understand is how you respond reflects your internal world. You cannot control the weather in their mind, but you can control how you walk through that storm. Sometimes the person who hurts you does not hate you. Sometimes they are afraid, they are jealous, they are insecure, or they do not know how to love. They might be carrying emotional wounds from their past, disappointments from their life, or fear from their failures. That pain spills out onto anyone who comes near them. Hurting others becomes their coping mechanism. But no matter what they do, your power lies not in reacting emotionally, but in responding consciously. You don't have to give emotional power to someone who is acting out of emotional weakness. Your response is your identity. That action reveals their character. Your response reveals yours. When someone attacks you verbally or tries to break your confidence, you might feel the urge to fight back instantly. That is natural. But maturity is the ability to pause, observe, and choose a response that aligns with who you are, not who they are pushing you to become. If someone uses anger and you respond with anger, you have mirrored them, you have become like them. But if you respond with calmness, clarity, and dignity, you show that you are functioning from a higher state of awareness. Your response becomes a declaration of your values. They might reveal impatience, but you reveal calmness. They might reveal disrespect, but you reveal self-respect. They might reveal their emotional immaturity, but you reveal emotional intelligence. Your response speaks louder than their insult. Your response speaks louder than their provocation. It speaks louder than air judgment. It tells the world that your peace cannot be shaken by someone else's chaos. It tells the world that you know how to differentiate between childish behavior and wise behavior. It tells the world that you are not here to match negativity. You are here to protect your inner space. The greatest strength is not in raising your voice, but in raising your standards, raising your awareness, raising your ability to understand and walk away. When someone hurts you, it is their truth that is surfacing. But when you respond, it is your truth that is shining. You may not be able to control what they express, but you can always control what you express. And that control is power. That control is mastery. That control is dignity. When angry people respond with anger, the situation escalates. When wise people respond with wisdom, the situation dissolves. Your response determines the outcome. Your response determines your growth. Your response determines your peace. Some people might misunderstand your calmness as weakness, but it is not weakness. It is your strength disguised as silence. It is your maturity disguised as restraint. It is your emotional stability disguised as patience. Anyone can react instantly. Reacting takes no intelligence. But responding thoughtfully takes depth. Responding thoughtfully takes insight. Responding thoughtfully takes character. And character is something no one can take away from you unless you choose to give it away. There will be moments in life when you feel that you need to explain yourself or defend yourself aggressively because someone has hurt you unfairly. But the truth is, you don't need to justify yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. You do not need to showcase your goodness to people who are blinded by negativity. You do not need to prove your worthiness to people who refuse to see your value. Instead, your response will speak for you. Your composure will speak for you. Your calmness will speak for you. Your silence will speak for you. And one day, even the person who hurt you will see the difference between their emotions and your maturity. Your response is your reputation. Your response is your inner respect. Your response is your spiritual strength. You do not control what comes to you, but you control what flows from you. And that is the moment life tests who you are. When they reveal anger, you reveal understanding. When they reveal disrespect, you reveal grace. When they reveal immaturity, you reveal wisdom. When they reveal ego, you reveal presence. That is the beauty of growth. That is the beauty of awareness. That is the beauty of being rooted in your values. So when they hurt you, let them reveal their character. You don't need to go down to their level. You don't need to argue. You don't need to retaliate. You simply need to remain centered, grounded, conscious, and aware. Because in the end, they will never remember what they said, but they will never forget how you responded. Reactions are automatic. They come from impulse, emotion, ego, old wounds, fear, and insecurity. Reactions happen without thinking. They happen because someone touched a nerve inside you. But wise responses come from awareness. They come from consciousness. They come from the ability to step back, observe the situation, understand the intention, and then respond from strength rather than weakness. When someone hurts you, your reaction is what drags you down to their level, but your wise response is what lifts you above them. Your reaction makes you part of the conflict, but your response makes you a witness to it. Reaction pulls you into emotional turbulence. Wise responses keep you rooted in emotional stability. When you react, you burn your energy. You drain your peace. You disturb your mental clarity. You allow the situation or person to take control of how you feel. You fall into their trap. You become predictable. You become easily manipulated. Because when someone knows they can provoke you just by saying something, they own your peace. But when you choose not to react, when you choose your response consciously, You show that they cannot control your inner environment. You show that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone else. This is where strength lies, in the ability to respond from your center rather than react from your wounds. A reaction is often temporary satisfaction for the ego, but long-term damage to peace. A wise response may not satisfy the ego immediately, but it protects your dignity for a lifetime. Reactions are loud, wisdom is calm. Reactions are emotional, wisdom is grounded. When you react, you pour fuel on the fire. You escalate the situation. You open wounds deeper. You create misunderstandings that may last months or years. You might say words you never wanted to say, and later you regret them. But a wise response is like water. It cools the fire, it calms the situation, it protects relationships, and most importantly, it protects your inner self. Reactions show immaturity because they come from impulse. Anyone can get angry, anyone can shout, anyone can insult. That requires no power, that requires no wisdom. But a wise response requires emotional maturity. It requires the ability to control your inner dialogue. It requires discipline of thought and patience of heart. The strongest person is never the one who speaks the loudest. The strongest is the one who remains composed in chaos. Because composure is strength. Composure is power. Composure is wisdom in action. Life will always present situations that challenge you. People will test your patience, test your limits, test your boundaries, test your emotional intelligence. And in those moments, the last thing you need is to react blindly. When you react blindly, you might think you are taking control, but in reality, you are giving control away. You are letting them decide how you feel, how you think, and how you act. But when you respond wisely, you reclaim control. You own your mind, you own your emotions, you own your speech. That is power. A wise response doesn't mean you stay silent every time. Wise response means you speak only when necessary, and you speak only in a way that adds clarity rather than confusion. Wise response means you choose your words consciously rather than emotionally. Wise response means you understand the impact of your words. You do not waste them. You do not misuse them. You do not speak to win. You speak to resolve. You speak not because you feel threatened, but because you feel clear. Reactions are like arrows shot blindly into the dark. They may hit anyone. But wise responses are like guided arrows. They hit where they should and only when needed. People think responding wisely is weakness because they confuse calmness with fear. But calmness is not fear. Calmness is self-command. Calmness is emotional mastery. Calmness is deep knowing that nothing outside you has the authority to disturb you unless you allow it. When someone hurts you and you react immediately, you might regret it later. But when you take a moment, breathe, reflect, and then respond consciously, you create space for understanding. You create space for clarity. You create space for peace. And sometimes the wisest response is to walk away, not because you are weak, but because the situation or person does not deserve your energy. Reaction makes you smaller. Response makes you bigger. Reaction shrinks your identity to the level of the problem. Response raises your identity to the level of solution. Reactio. N is survival mode. Wise response is growth mode. When you start responding rather than reacting, you start living with awareness, not instinct. You start living with intention, not compulsion. You start living with emotional freedom, not emotional slavery. Remember always, you cannot control what others will say, do, or think. But you can control what you will say, do, and think. This control is the doorway to peace, maturity, and power. The world may push you to react, but you must choose to respond, because the quality of your life will never be determined by what happens to you, but by how you respond to it. Choosing inner peace over outer arguments is not a sign of running away, nor is it a sign of accepting defeat. It is a sign that you value your energy, your emotional clarity, and your inner state more than the temporary satisfaction of proving someone wrong. Arguments are tempting. They trigger the ego. They make you feel that you should defend yourself, justify yourself, or teach someone a lesson. But deeper wisdom tells you that most arguments lead nowhere. Most arguments are not about finding truth, they are about showing power. People argue to feel superior, to protect their insecurities, or to release their frustrations. When you choose inner peace over outer arguments, you are saying that you no longer wish to play in that emotional mud. You are choosing your higher self over your reactive self. Arguments rarely change people. People do not listen when they are angry. They do not understand when they are defensive. They do not absorb wisdom when they are busy proving themselves right. Arguments create noise, not clarity. They create distance, not understanding. They create bitterness, not healing. But peace has a different language. Peace speaks silently. Peace speaks through presence. Peace speaks through calmness. Peace speaks through emotional maturity. And when you choose peace, you are showing that you are not controlled by the chaos around you. When someone tries to provoke you, they expect a reaction. When someone tries to humiliate you, they expect you to fight back. When someone tries to push you into conflict, they expect you to step into the arena. But the moment you choose peace, they lose control over you. You are not feeding their ego. You are not entering their emotional battlefield. You are not trapped in their negativity. You are stepping back, stepping above, and stepping into your true power. Peace is not passive, peace is powerful. Peace is not weakness, peace is wisdom. Inner peace is a choice you make every time someone tries to pull you into their emotional chaos. It is the choice of saying, I will not trade my mental stability just to prove a point. It is the choice of saying, I know who I am and I don't need outer validation. It is the choice of saying, my energy is valuable and I will not waste it on arguments that have no real purpose. You realize that most arguments are not about truth, they are about ego. They are about who gets the last word. They are about who looks smarter. They are about who feels superior. You rise above that game when you prioritize your peace. Protecting inner peace does not mean you avoid difficult conversations. It means you avoid pointless ones. It means you choose clarity, not chaos. It means you speak when necessary, but not when people are unwilling to listen. Peace means knowing the difference between expressing your truth and fighting to win. Peace means you understand that you don't need to react to every provocation, you don't need to respond to every opinion, and you don't need to attend every argument you are invited to. Inner peace gives you emotional freedom. Arguments drain the mind, they drain the heart, they drain the body. You walk away feeling exhausted, irritated, restless, and mentally unsettled. But when you choose peace, you walk away with clarity. You walk away with strength. You walk away with dignity. You walk away with your energy intact. You realize that your mental health is more important than winning a battle that has no meaning. You realize that no external conflict is worth disturbing your internal harmony. There will be people in life who thrive on argument. They enjoy stirring negativity, they want attention, they want drama, they want reactions. They shape their identity by winning verbal fights. But you do not need to join that. Your peace is not something you gamble with. You do not negotiate your peace based on someone else's immaturity. You do not allow another person's emotional storm to enter your quiet space. You build emotional boundaries that protect you. Inner peace gives you clarity. Inner peace gives you emotional maturity. Inner peace gives you resilience. Inner peace allows you to hear your own wisdom rather than the noise of the world. Inner peace allows you to remain centered regardless of what is happening around you. Inner peace teaches you patience, self-control, humility, strength, and awareness. It becomes your anchor in life. In choosing peace, you are not trying to be right, you are trying to be wise. You are not trying to win, you are trying to live. You are not trying to dominate, you are trying to grow. And this growth transforms your relationships, your conversations, and your mental state. When you choose peace, you are investing in your long-term well-being, not satisfying your short-term ego. You are choosing calm over chaos, clarity over confusion, and wisdom over impulse. To choose inner peace over outer arguments is to understand that true strength doesn't come from shouting the loudest, but from staying calm when everyone else is losing count. Role. True confidence doesn't come from proving others wrong, but from not needing to prove anything at all. True wisdom doesn't come from winning debates, but from walking away from the ones that do not matter. This is not escape. This is elevation, this is not surrender. This is mastery. You are not shrinking, you are rising. And the world will see that the person who protects their inner peace is the one who has discovered real power. Your dignity is not something that needs to be defended aggressively or shouted into the world. Your dignity is not proven by how loudly you argue, how intensely you react, or how harshly you answer someone. Your dignity is the quiet strength you carry inside of you. It is the calm composure you maintain when everything around you tries to provoke you. It is the decision to hold yourself to a higher standard even when others are behaving in ways that are below you. When you protect your dignity, you are choosing self-respect over emotional chaos, maturity over ego fights, and inner stability over outer drama. There will always be people who test your patience. They may try to insult you, degrade you, or pull you into arguments, hoping you will lose control. They want you to react, because if you react, they win. They want to see you angry, because when you lose your calm, you lose your dignity. But when you stay composed, when you can respond with clarity instead of reacting with emotion, you maintain your dignity. In that moment, you are telling them, not through words, but through your behavior, that you know who you are, and you refuse to allow another person to decide your character for you. Dignity is not something that others give you. Dignity is something you protect within yourself. It is the ability to remain graceful even when others are being disrespectful. It is the ability to maintain self-control even when someone is trying to provoke you. It is the ability to hold yourself to your values, despite the pressure to drop to someone else's level. Dignity is the proof that you are aligned with your inner strength, not your ego. Many people believe dignity comes from winning arguments, but arguments are not victories, they are drains. They drain energy, time, and peace. Winning an argument might make the ego happy for a moment, but it does nothing to elevate you. In fact, the more ego you involve in a battle, the more you risk losing dignity. You might end up saying things you regret, you might end up lowering your standards, you might end up hurting someone without intention, but when you choose dignity, you choose a path where you respect yourself so deeply that you do not allow temporary emotions to make permanent damage. Your dignity is your posture of awareness. It is the quiet voice inside you that says, I refuse to lose myself over something that does not deserve my energy. Some people will not understand your silence. Some will confuse your calmness with fear. Some will mistake your refusal to argue as weakness. But these are people who do not understand dignity. They do not understand strength. They do not understand maturity. And you are not here to live according to their understanding. Dignity is choosing silence when words would only make things worse. Dignity is walking away when staying would degrade your peace. Dignity is responding with wisdom when your ego wants to explode. Dignity is to say to yourself, I value my mental state, my emotional health, and my self-awareness too much to lose control. True dignity doesn't come from being perfect, it comes from being conscious. Dignity is saying, I know I could argue, but I won't. I know I could insult back, but I won't. I know I could prove myself, but I don't need to. This is not about weakness, this is about Rai. Sing above what does not deserve you. Every time you protect your dignity, you are investing in your long-term growth. You are training your mind to stay calm. You are training your heart to stay peaceful. You are shaping your personality into someone who cannot be shaken by negativity. When you maintain dignity, you do not lose yourself in the temporary fire of anger. You do not give anyone access to your emotional world. When someone tries to pull you down and you remain composed, you send a message, not spoken, but deeply felt, that you are operating from a higher frequency. You show that you are grounded. You show that you are centered. You show that you are beyond being manipulated by negativity. And something magical happens when you protect your dignity. You earn respect, even from those who try to disrespect you. People may not like you, but they will respect you. They may not agree with you, but they will admire you. They may not understand your silence, but they will feel your strength. Dignity communicates power without noise. Dignity communicates confidence without confrontation. Dignity communicates awareness without argument. You rise, not because others lifted you, but because you lifted yourself. You show the world that peace is more valuable than ego fights. You show the world that maturity is stronger than anger. You show the world that the greatest victory is not winning a battle outside, but winning the battle inside. Staying calm when everything wants to disturb you. Protecting your dignity is protecting your inner world. And your inner world is the foundation from which every decision, every relationship, every achievement, and every experience is shaped. When you honor your dignity, you honor your soul. And that is something no one can take away from you. People misunderstand walking away. They think walking away means quitting, avoiding, being fragile, or being unable to confront. But walking away is not cowardice. Walking away is clarity. Walking away is not escape. Walking away is evolution. Walking away does not mean you lost. It means you chose not to lose yourself. When you walk away from negativity, disrespect, unnecessary conflict, toxic people, or draining conversations, you are not weak. You are wise. You are not scared. You are aware. You are not silent because you have no words. You are silent because your words are too valuable to be wasted. Walking away is a conscious decision to protect your emotional space, your inner peace, and your dignity. There are times when your mind wants to fight, your ego wants to prove a point, your anger wants to react, but your wisdom whispers, let it go. Wisdom knows that not everything deserves a response, and not every situation deserves your involvement. Walking away means you understand the difference between what helps you grow and what keeps you stuck. You realize that some people talk not to understand but to dominate. Some people argue not to learn but to win. Some people hurt not because you deserve it, but because they themselves are hurting. In those situations, walking away is not running, it is rising. Walking away requires inner strength. It requires maturity to remain silent when provoked. It requires clarity to let go when your ego wants to stay. Anyone can react, anyone can yell, anyone can argue, anyone can fight back, but it takes real power to walk away from battles that only drain you. It takes real emotional intelligence to step out of situations where the only result is frustration. Walking away is not the weapon of the weak. It is the strategy of the strong. There will be people who misunderstand your decision. They will think you are avoiding them. They will assume you are afraid. They will mistake your calmness for weakness. But they do not understand the depth of your decision. You walked away because you know that your peace is priceless. You walked away because you respect your time and energy. You walked away because you know conversations without respect, arguments without truth, relationships without honesty, or connections without understanding have no place in your inner world. Walking away does not mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to protect your inner stability. You are not choosing anger, you are choosing peace. You are not choosing ego, you are choosing clarity. You are not choosing escape, you are choosing growth. You are not choosing silence because you cannot speak. You are choosing silence because you understand that your voice must be used only where it has meaning. The moment you walk away from negativity, you honor your emotional well-being. You take back your power. You stop giving access to people who do not value you. You stop feeding energy into conversations that only confuse you. You stop engaging with behaviors that downgrade your peace. Walking away is not giving up, it is leveling up. You elevate yourself to a place where their energy cannot pull you down. Some people think walking away creates distance. In truth, it creates clarity. It clears your vision. It clears your thinking. It clears your heart. You start seeing who truly respects you and who doesn't. You start seeing who belongs in your life and who doesn't. You start seeing what matters and what doesn't. Walking away is like stepping outside of a storm to watch it from a distance. Inside the storm, you are confused. Outside the storm, you see everything clearly. Walking away also teaches you patience. It teaches you restraint. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you that not every moment needs your reaction, and not every person deserves your explanation. You learn to choose your bat less wisely. You learn to conserve your peace. You learn that your silence sometimes says more than your words ever could. Walking away is the moment you recognize your worth. You realize that your peace is not for sale. You realize that your self-respect is not negotiable. You realize that you do not need to sit in chaos trying to prove yourself. You realize that sometimes the best answer is no answer. Sometimes the best reaction is no reaction. Sometimes the best voice is silence. Sometimes the best move is to leave. When you walk away from a situation that tries to consume you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, you are not losing anything. You are gaining peace. You are gaining clarity. You are gaining strength. You are gaining control over your state of mind. You are gaining freedom from negativity. You are gaining space for growth. And the beauty is, walking away doesn't mean you failed in that situation. It means that situation no longer has power over you. It means your inner world is stronger than any outer disturbance. You are not walking away to avoid reality. You are walking away to protect your truth. You are walking away to preserve your mental and emotional health. You are walking away because the peace within you is worth more than any argument outside you. One day, people will see that walking away is not weakness, but wisdom. But even if they don't, it doesn't matter, because you did not walk away for them. You walked away for you. You did not choose peace for them. You chose peace for you. You did not choose dignity for them. You chose dignity for you. Walking away is not losing. It is choosing yourself. There will be moments in life when you notice that the people who hurt you often expect you to respond instantly, emotionally, and impulsively, almost like they're waiting to see you collapse, waiting to see your peace break, waiting to see your energy drain. They want you to lose control because that is when they feel they have power over you. But the real strength lies not in reacting immediately, but in observing deeply. In those moments, take a pause. Not because you are weak, but because you are wise enough to not let them dictate your emotional state. You begin to understand that not every action deserves a reaction, not every word deserves a reply, and not every provocation deserves your attention. Silence is not your defeat, silence is your mastery. As you go through these experiences, you start to develop an inner clarity, a clarity that reveals truth without needing you to force answers from anyone. You see people acting from their pain, their insecurity, their envy, their frustration, and sometimes even from their loneliness. You realize that hurtful behavior does not automatically mean you should also feel hurt. Their intention may be to bring you down, but your intention is to rise above, not in arrogance, but in maturity. Wisdom teaches you to become aware of the game without playing it. You start seeing things from a higher perspective. You begin to identify the difference between someone attacking you and someone revealing their inner issues in the disguise of attacking you. As wisdom grows, you stop needing to explain yourself. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. You stop trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It hits you one day that your peace is too expensive to be traded for their drama. Your growth is too sacred to be disturbed by their chaos. Your journey is too meaningful to be interrupted by their temporary negativity. You understand that sometimes people hurt you simply because they don't know how to treat someone who carries a calm and steady energy. Your silence confuses them because they expected you to break, scream, and crumble. But you don't. You respond with self-control, and that frustrates them because they realize they cannot control you. Wisdom also shows you that forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. Forgiveness is not about letting them go, it is about letting yourself go from the emotional burden that their actions attempted to put on you. It doesn't mean you forget, it doesn't mean you reconcile, it doesn't mean you tolerate. It means you no longer allow their behavior to live rent-free in your mind. It means you no longer allow their negativity to occupy space in your heart. Wisdom teaches you that inner peace is a journey, not a reaction. You begin to notice that what they tried to harm actually helped you grow. What they tried to use against you actually made you stronger. What they tried to break actually made you wiser. As wisdom strengthens, you stop asking, why did they hurt me? And you begin asking, what did this experience teach me? You shift from pain-driven thinking to growth-driven thinking. You start learning about patience, about emotional intelligence, about boundaries, about detachment, about resilience. You realize that life is not happening against you, but happening for you, shaping you into a calm yet powerful human being. who understands the depth of human behaviors. You start noticing patterns, people projecting their pain onto you, people trying to bring you into their chaos, people trying to trigger you to feel as unstable as they do. But when you stay centered, you don't become a part of their emotional storm. You become a reminder that storms pass, but calm remains. Eventually, you reach a point where you don't want revenge, not because you don't deserve it, but because you don't desire it. You don't want them to suffer the way they made you suffer. Your heart has evolved beyond that. You realize that revenge does not heal. It only multiplies the pain. Why? Storm teaches you that peace is the highest revenge because peace denies them the satisfaction of seeing you broken. Wisdom teaches you that growth is the highest revenge because growth proves to them that their actions never defined you. Wisdom teaches you that silence is the highest revenge because silence shows that their words have no power over your mind. You become unshakable, not because life never touches you, but because you no longer allow every touch to disturb your peace. Your wisdom becomes your shield. Your clarity becomes your strength. Your inner peace becomes your greatest achievement. You learn to sit with your emotions, understand them, process them, and release them. You learn to observe without reacting, to respond without hurting, to walk away without carrying bitterness. You evolve into someone who is not ruled by anger but guided by awareness. You grow into someone who no longer allows the world to dictate your mood, because your emotional world is ruled by wisdom, not wounded reactions. There comes a point in the journey of growing through pain when you begin to understand that the most powerful response you can ever offer to those who hurt you is not revenge, not anger, not emotional outbursts, not even loud explanations. It is your transformation. It is the version of you that rises above their expectations, the version of you that they never imagined you would become. Because when someone tries to hurt you, their intention is not only to cause pain, but also to limit your capacity to evolve. They hope that you will shrink, lose confidence, lose clarity, lose your sense of worth, and remain stuck. But when you evolve beyond what they expected, when you grow instead of break, when you strengthen instead of crumble, you silently send a message that their opinions did not shape your destiny. Their actions did not become your identity, and their negativity could not imprison your spirit. Your transformation becomes proof that your life is not built on their treatment of you, but on the depth of your inner resilience. When you focus on becoming better rather than becoming bitter, something magical begins to happen. You start shifting from emotional reactions to conscious growth. You start choosing our peace over their chaos, your healing over their harm, your growth over their gossip, your clarity over their confusion. You begin understanding that pain is not the end, but the beginning of something meaningful if you allow it to teach you instead of trap you. Your evolution becomes your response, and without saying anything, you communicate everything. The most beautiful part of this transformation is that you no longer need validation. You no longer feel the urge to prove your worth to people who try to underestimate you. You stop wanting to correct their perception of you because their perception is not your responsibility. You realize that the moment you start evolving mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even morally, the judgment loses power. You begin focusing on what truly matters, your inner strength, your purpose, your progress, your peace. And once you reach that level, the same people who try to break your confidence will notice that you have slowly walked into a place where their opinions and behavior do not touch you anymore. And this begins to change everything. Your progress becomes loud even in silence. Your growth becomes visible even without announcement. You begin stepping into a life where your actions speak louder than their words, your peace speaks louder than their noise, your maturity speaks louder than their immaturity. You start understanding that the path to wisdom is not in attacking those who attacked you, but in becoming someone who no longer gets damaged by what damaged you before. Their negativity becomes irrelevant in front of your growth. Their attempt to control your emotions fails in front of your emotional mastery. Their desire to disrupt your peace collapses in front of your inner balance. With transformation comes emotional independence. You no longer depend on external approval to feel worthy. You no longer look for apologies to feel healed. You no longer need explanations to feel peaceful. You realize that emotional freedom is not about changing them, but about changing how deeply they can affect you. You become strong not because you retaliated, but because you rose. You become powerful not because they apologized, but because you healed. You become successful not because they supported you, but because you didn't allow their discouragement to stop you. People who hurt you often expect you to remain stuck in that pain. They imagine you will spend years overthinking what they did, replaying their words, doubting yourself, shrinking your potential, limiting your dreams. But when you transform, you break that pattern. You learn to let go without losing lessons. You learn to move on without losing wisdom. You learn to smile again without losing depth. You begin living with an awareness that not everyone deserves access to your energy, your peace, your thoughts, your dreams. You set boundaries not out of anger, but out of clarity. You distance yourself not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. You protect your heart not because you fear pain, but because you value peace. And with this transformation, your life becomes proof that hurt can lead to healing, that betrayal can lead to clarity, that disappointment can lead to depth, that rejection can lead to direction. You become living evidence that pain does not define a person, it refines a person. You become an example that the strongest souls are not those who never broke, but those who broke and rebuilt themselves into a higher version. Your transformation shows that you no longer respond from wounds but from wisdom, no longer from insecurity but from understanding, no longer from weakness but from inner power. You reach a stage where revenge becomes meaningless because you've outgrown the version of yourself that even wanted revenge. Your heart becomes calm, your mind becomes centered, your soul becomes grounded. And this is when life reveals its deepest truth, that your greatest revenge is the life you build beyond their reach, beyond their understanding, beyond their influence. Your transformation becomes your victory, and that victory is silently louder than anything you could ever say to them.